Okay, welcome back to episode 28, Transpulse Lap 3, the final lap of this episode coming right up. Stay tuned right to the end. Please watch to the end because we've got a little bit of news to share with you, so you don't want to miss that. Okay, listen, first before we get into the action, please remember, we say this week on, we genuinely do love to hear from you, whether you agree, disagree, or have an alternative viewpoint to anything that we've discussed on 360. Please do take a moment to comment here on the YouTube channel. You'll have to be a subscriber to be able to do that, so please click on subscribe and complete that process. It's absolutely free to do it, and that allows you to interact with us on our YouTube channel. Or else, of course, comment on any of our socials. You'll see on screen all of the various platforms and account details that you can contact us through. And of course, there's also the dedicated WhatsApp number that we have as well, which is 0333 772 40 46. You can send us a text form message or even a voice note by WhatsApp. The one thing that I must ask you finally before and I do ask you this every single week, I do appeal, sometimes I look pleadingly into the camera. I'm going to do it once again in episode 28. Please get into the habit a little bit more than perhaps you do currently to give us a little thumbs up. So anything that you see us post on social media, in particular on YouTube, please give us a little thumbs up just to show your appreciation perhaps of our efforts. And it's a very powerful but small action that you can take that does actually help the channel. Okay, let's get into the action then. So over the course of 360, we're now 28 weeks deep. I have received many comments, many messages asking to put certain questions to some of the pundits on the 360 team. Favourite and least favourite tracks, that type of thing, the toughest opponents, the biggest pay packet you've ever had, questions like that. So there's an almost unlimited range of questions that I can put to the guys. So I thought for the first time we would actually put that into effect, and I'm going to ask the guys, each of them, to answer the questions that I'm going to ask them in a feature called Rider Memories and Reveals. And I should put on the Memories and Reveals. There we are. Right, okay. Lawrence, I'm going to start with you first. So, Lawrence, I want you to answer this question, then Robbo, and then Nigel, and then we'll move on to the second question. So, my opening question, Lawrence, here is, rack your brains and tell us, please, what was the proudest pass that you ever made and why?
That would probably be Charlie Geddy at Exeter. I think we were a couple of points down, second leg at home, going in heat 15, and it was, I think, it was to go, was it KO Cup? We needed a couple of points to force a draw, and I was behind, like I say, heat 15, came into the first and second bend behind him, went wide. I actually hit the fence. I think it's online as well. You can see it online, the pass. Online, out wide, turns 1 and 2, hit the fence with a back wheel, got some drive, like smashed the fence, came off the fence and propelled that off a turn, went by him out of the turn, but he actually moved to the right, moved over a bit on me, and you can't see on the video, but I actually had to put my left leg on and push him away. I kicked his engine to push him away, and back on him, rear and off the back straight, and there was the last fence, so it forced us a run-off. And then we qualified, it forced us a run-off. No, it forced us a replay over 2 legs, which we qualified to KO Cup final, which we went on to lose against Harbath. That was probably a last lap pass to force another 2 legs. So that's got to be the one.
Lawrence here, the hero. I love it, Lawrence. I love it. It's amazing how you can so vividly remember all the actions and everything you had to do to push him away with your left foot. Yeah. Robbo, let's come to you. Same question. Your proudest pass and why?
Possibly gone to Exeter again, like Lowell just said that. In 2005, I went down there with Rye House, and I didn't have the best track record at Exeter. I didn't do too bad. From my early days there, you know, everyone had put me off the track before I ever went. So you kind of go there and you think, oh my God, this place is horrendous. But you know, it actually wasn't that bad, to be fair. When you sort of learned how to ride it, and you had a bit more confidence, and you become a better rider in general. And yeah, I was down there with Rye House, and I don't know what particular heat it was, but it was just, I remember, I think it was Seaman Stevens. He was flying around there. He had a really good year that year, and he was flying. And I remember coming down the back straight into the third bend and went around him on the outside, going in sort of into the corner before I got to the middle of the corner, because you tended to come in and drift up to the fence there. And you know, if you didn't get around someone before that, you would end up in the fence if you weren't careful. And I managed to get around him before that point, and got by him. And I mean, Seaman was, like I say, he was flying around there. He was a difficult person to pass in general, but especially around there, it was difficult. And then I got paid maximum that night, which was my last meeting ever at Exeter. Which to me, I was really proud of that, because I'd done okay, I'd never done that well, and then that got us. I got paid maximum, and that we won that night. Rye House beat them, and we won the league before the playoffs as well. We went up against Kings Lynn in the playoff final and lost, but we won the sort of league up to that because of that win at that meeting, which was I was quite proud of myself for that, because, like I say, it was a difficult place to ride as an away ride, because the home team were pretty good round there.
Cool memory, Robert. I appreciate that. Thank you. Nigel, same question to you.
It's a hard one, isn't it? That to think. Really, every pass is an important one, isn't it? One I seem to remember standing out a little bit was guesting for Middlesbrough. And I think the only reason they used me was for this reason. It was against Long Eaton. And I think if Middlesbrough beat Long Eaton, you'll remember this, Derek, Middlesbrough beat Long Eaton that night, that handed the league to Glasgow. That would be in 94, I think. And I remember I dived underneath Jan Stettman and passed him, which helped towards Middlesbrough winning, and Glasgow winning the league, and Long Eaton not winning the league. Jan didn't take too kind to it because he came off like, but anyhow, never mind. He got over it. But yeah, I remember that one. Every pass was a good one. I don't really... I don't know, yeah, and then we had another little bit of a duel like that, me and Jan in the ice race at Hull. Similar sort of thing happened again. But hey, it happens, doesn't it? I passed him there and won the ice meeting at Hull that year, whatever year it was. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's hard to, well, it is for me, because I'm going back a lot further than others. I tell you what, I can never remember, they're better than me, because I can never remember passing anybody at Exeter. So,
that's because you gated, Nigel. You were a good gator.
I had to do.
Okay, next question, Rob. I'm going to start with you to give Lawrence a little bit more thinking time this time. So next one, Stuart, is your most embarrassing moment. And I guess the inference is on track. Any embarrassing moments on track? Doesn't have to be on track.
Just silly things, really. I've done, you know, when you do a wheelie after a race and you fall off the back. You know, I've done that once or twice before, and I remember being at Workington one time, and I must have touched the tapes or something, and I had to go 15 meters. And the starts at Workington, the last couple of years I sort of was riding, they were like about 3 or 4 inches deep of just pure clear. They were awesome. They were so grippy, but it was only that little bit of where the start was on that straight that was grippy like that. So when I went 15 meters back, it wasn't grippy like that. And I sort of dropped the clutch off. I went, and it was a strange thing. My nose got itchy, and because I wasn't really moving very fast, I reached my hand up and scratched my nose. The next thing, I hit that grip, didn't I? Well, the thing stood straight up on the back wheel, and that was me again, straight off the back. I'm like, oh god, that was quite embarrassing. But that was probably my worst one. Yeah, it was.
Brilliant.
I was literally going nowhere.
Where was that, Stuart? Where were you?
I was at Workington.
At Workington.
At the old track, no, not
Yeah,
obviously
yeah,
not the new track,
yeah.
but yeah, it was. I mean, I used to love going to that track. I had some great races around there, and I loved the starts the way they were because it was so deep and grippy, and yeah, it was quite embarrassing, that one was.
I like it. Crabby, next up for you, most embarrassing Speedway memory.
I think the only one I can, well, there'll be hundreds of them, won't there? One in particular I think of, I fell off before it got to the tapes, but in my defence there, it was indoor meeting, and it was on wood in the indoor arena or whatever it was called then at Manchester.
Okay.
During winter.
That.
Yeah?
Yeah, my brother rode.
You say again, Stuart?
Scott rode in it, my brother rode in it.
Did he? Right. Yeah. And like, you had a boot on, but I think you fastened something like I don't know, a cloth or something to your boot so it'd slide on the wood or whatever. Okay. And I'm going round to the start and I stopped or whatever, and I put my foot down, leant over a bit, and of course, because I'd got this cloth on my foot, my foot just slipped away, and of course I fell off, didn't I? I felt a right pillock, didn't I?
I bet the crowd loved it, Nigel. I bet the crowd loved it. Yeah.
I don't know. I got up and hope nobody'd seen it. You know how you do, real quick, and think, no,
yeah,
all right.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. Lawrence, most embarrassing Speedway moment?
It's got to be debut for Newport. I think it was 98 debut for Newport. First race, came off a start. Sort of collected someone a little bit, or brushed with someone coming into the first turn and went down. I was lucky that I didn't know how I got in the rerun, actually. I was quite surprised, quite shocked. They put me in the rerun. Back, done exactly the same thing again, spun round, broke my leg. Oh. And so that was it. The debut was it was a painful debut and the most embarrassing one as well, but ended up, so that was it. Got about 25 yards twice, sort of waved to people as they were getting loaded back into the ambulance, and that was it. Ended up in the Newport Gwent Hospital, operation, same, well, pretty much, I suppose. I'm assuming what poor Tom Brennan's done now. Pin and a plate in the ankle, and that was it, really. So it was that has to be learned the hard way there.
Not the first impression you wanted, Lawrence. No. I was certain you were going to mention one of your many haircuts from back in. You had some mullets, didn't you, Lawrence, from the past? Yeah.
A lot of people had mullets. It was the 90s. It was an indie thing.
That's true. That's true. Okay, next question, Nigel. I'll ask you to do this one first. So, Nigel, the question here is, what do you remember as being the most imposing stand or terracing that you had to ride past, and why would that be the case? The most imposing stand or terracing.
I think I've said this before to you. When I very first started, my first ever race, second half race, like when I was just turned 16, was at Bellevue at the old Hyde Road. And of course, when you went out there, it were all enclosed, wasn't it? And all the way around, and it was packed full of people, thousands of people. And honestly, you just felt like you were going out into arena, and like, unbelievable. I've never seen anything like it before, 16-year-old kid went out there, wobbled round like in front of thousands of people, all sort of on top of the track as well.
Yeah. No
dog track or anything there, so everybody was on top of the track, and it was petrifying, really, and like lamb to slaughters, really. Lamb to a slaughter.
That must have been quite a sight for a young 16-year-old kid.
Yeah, it was, honestly, it was, Derek. First time out in the second half, and there you are at Bellevue, the place what everybody talks about, it was some first time, that was.
Lawrence, what's your answer to that same question?
I'm not sure, really. I think one place comes to mind with talking to fans and that sort of respect. I think those 14 tournaments, they used to be absolutely packed. And when you rode round, to the start and everything, the fans were sort of almost hanging over the track, weren't they? You were right up, you did practice starts at the back straight, And you get a lot of the fans hanging over, and you had your big groups of fans.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll remember the Emmerdales. When I rode for Edinburgh,
yeah,
the Emmerdales always on tour. And that lot were, I think they're on a third bend. So you waited, and you got a big cheer with them. So anyone coming by them would have got what we got. So for the other fans earlier on, you're doing a practice start and people banging over the fence and that sort of thing. That's probably one in that respect that comes to mind.
nice.
Yeah.
Another nice memory. Robbo?
Yeah, probably it's from the first time I went to Poland, I would imagine. This would be, it's a pretty difficult one, really. The mid-90s, I would do the under-21s, like we talked about with Scott earlier, and going out to Poland for the first time, I didn't, it was probably the biggest crowd I'd ridden in front of, and I think it was Gniezno on my first trip out there back in '96. I think it might have been the following round after the Latvia round we were talking about earlier, actually. And going out to that, I'd never seen anything like it. There was thousands of people there, like Nigel just said about the Bellevue, the old Hyde Road place. It was sort of, I guess it was the closest I could have got to that. And yeah, I mean, but I wasn't a Polish rider, so they're not there for me. They were there for the Polish riders. And it's quite important that really, I didn't know what to expect. I'd never been before. It was my first time riding over there at that time. And yeah, I'd probably say that is, if I remember right, we ended up having to get a police escort at the stadium for some reason. We couldn't get by all the fans. They wouldn't let us by. So we had to, back in the days, they used to want like souvenirs. So if you had, like little postcard pictures and things like that,
Yeah.
They wanted you to hand stuff like that out, but I didn't know. I'd never had anything like that because I'd never been before. So, and yeah, it was quite important, really. And the police had to sort of get us out of the stadium, if I remember right then.
They weren't going to let you leave until you gave them something, Robbo.
Yes, that was what it seemed to be honest. Yes.
That's amazing. Lawrence, I think you're first up for the next one. We'll just do one or two more if that's okay. Lawrence, back in your racing days, what would Lawrence Hare identify as being your most effective or your strongest part of your ability as a rider? What were you best at?
It's not gating, that's for sure. I hadn't mastered that until about the last three or 4 years, really. But I did get a reputation, particularly around sort of my last year there, and the last couple of years at Exeter, called a bit of a nickname, Last Lap Roll, because I did make quite a few last lap passes. Charlie Geddy, like I mentioned, was one, and some more to hit maximums and that sort of thing. Passing a few passes around Exeter, but yeah, sort of some home and away. I made some. So yeah, that I don't know. You know when you give everything in that last lap and that last real push for the line, and needs to make sort of probably a bit too crazy sometimes. Really, you can let it all hang out a bit too much, can't you? But yeah, I could make some last lap passes, and like I got a bit of a nickname for their last lap.
Last lap, Lawrence. I like it.
So yeah, probably that really.
Good, Robbo. In your own words, what was your strength as a rider?
Like Lowell just said there, mine certainly wasn't gating. My strength probably was being able to pass around the outside, which is something I actually remember Lowell for, to be fair. He could ride the dirt, he could ride around the outside of the fence. It's probably to do with the motocross background. You had a motocross background back in your youth as well, didn't you? Yeah. So it's the same sort of thing. You could ride the deep stuff, and it didn't affect you, it didn't bother you. And it was that's probably what would have been my sort of strongest point, really. And as I got a bit better and a bit older, I could ride the inside as well, but being able to ride the dirt around the outside was probably my main thing.
I'm kind of closing my eyes a little bit and thinking, Lawrence and you, Stuart, both of you were kind of leg back types, weren't you?
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah. Classed as a leg trailer, yeah.
Sort of. Yeah, either where you were, sort of.
Well, I mean, the old fashioned leg trail, they had the leg trail, their foot by the back wheel. I don't think we were ever sort of that bad, but we didn't necessarily keep the foot forward the entire corner.
Yes. Cabby, you've had time to think and identify your strongest element of your riding, Nigel.
Well, it weren't like them pair anyway. No, I can remember both Lowell and Stuart exactly doing what they've just both said. For me, I worked hard and getting out the starts for me. If I could get out the start in front and get away a little bit, it was the safest option for me, I think. I could just make decent starts. Maybe not all the time, but I think a lot of the time when I'd got my right head on, I could make good starts.
I can still visualise you, Nigel, in those black leathers at the Shawfield gate.
Yeah.
You know, perfect gate after perfect gate after perfect gate. You were the backbone of that back-to-back winning side, Nigel.
Yeah, and do you know what, Derek? It's funny this is really, because Scott hit the nail on the head, and I've never thought anything about this really until he was saying about your comfort zone and everything. When he left Ipswich, went down to Poole, and I can remember when Stoke shut and coming to Glasgow, I was worried about it because I'd had it so... the comfort zone at Stoke. I knew exactly what I was doing, where I was going to be. I knew what the track was going to be like. And then I had to go to Glasgow. Totally didn't really know what to expect. Didn't even know if I could make... I knew I could make starts at Stoke. I didn't know if I could make them at Glasgow, and it did worry me for a meeting or two till we got dialed in, and then I loved it, enjoyed it, and glad I made that decision to go to Glasgow.
That makes at least two of us, Nigel. I was glad you went to Glasgow as well. Let's do one final question. Rob, I'll start with you this time. Are you prepared to name, Stuart, for whatever reason, your on-track nemesis?
I can't really remember. No, I know I had bogey riders. And those riders, I just, whatever happened, I just never seemed to be able to beat them for whatever reason. I can't remember for the life of me who they were now, but I just know that I did have riders like that. And on track nemesis, I don't really know. Really, I don't. It's tough on that one.
Well, listen, you have a think for 20 seconds, and we'll move on to Nigel and Lauren. I'll come back to you, right? Have a think, Nigel. Is there someone that springs? You mentioned Steckers earlier. Was he your on-track nemesis?
I always seem to... I knew I could out-trap Steckers. I knew I could. But same as Les Collins. He was another one. I knew I could outgate Les. But whenever you outgated him, you knew he'd be going 10 mile an hour faster than you. Same as Jan. He'd be going 10 mile an hour faster. But I could get in the way, and I could stay in front of them one way or another, right or wrong sometimes. But like Jan, like Les, they were always hovering around the back wheel, Les more than anybody. Les, he just never ever gave up, did he? The full 4 laps, 110% effort all the time. Really rode the bike, and to beat Les, you had to be quite smart and quite switched on, because he was just a racer.
Yes.
And a good racer was Les Collins as well. A good racer.
You're some, Nigel. I actually miss seeing Les racing a Speedway bike, because he was so impressive, super impressive to watch. How he was so smooth and just a very, very exceptional rider. Good evening, Les, if you happen to be looking in.
Yeah.
Lawrence, you prepared to identify any nemesis?
Nemesis. I wouldn't say nemesis, but like Nigel says, I mean, Les, if you're in front of Les, you can't let out. You don't know where he's coming from. You can't let out there. You got to keep going to the very end. But I think previously I've mentioned, I think Richard Helson and Jono.
Yes, he did.
Really, I'd had some years when I was at Edinburgh, 94, 95, had some great on track skirmishes with Rickard and John and that, so particularly at Long Eaton. I love that place, racy track, you know. Could really get round the outside there. And but Rickard was, again, eyes in the back of his head. Home or away, wily old campaigner. He'd have you this way and that way, you know, legs off, one of the original legs off. Right leg off a footrest and all over the bike. I mean, the fantastic rider, you know, really talented, really skilled. He just so hard to pass, and you know, I'd always have some good battles with him. So I wouldn't. It was sort of a nemesis, but
sort of a nemesis. That as close to a nemesis as you can think of. Some great names. Robbo, anyone sprung to mind? Strobbo?
Yeah, just if you're going along the lines that the guys there just been talking about, Les is one of the ones from my sort of early days. He was like the guys both in there. He was such a good rider, and he was all over the back here. You know, if you were in front of him, he would not let you go. I used to actually like racing against Les because he was super safe, and he was so in control of the bike, and he would not do anything bad untoward towards you. You know, if you were going around the outside of him, he would leave you room. You know, and he was always super safe to ride against, which was good. And I guess a couple other riders in that same sort of category. Scott Nichols, he never gives up. He never ever gave up. He's a racer. And Chris Harris, same sort of thing. You know that they know they're there. You have to keep the gas on until you cross that finish line if you're in front of them, because they are going to be there. If waiting for the slightest mistake, and they will pounce on it.
Brilliant, guys. Listen, I've really enjoyed your company tonight. That brings us remarkably to the end of episode 28. We hope you've enjoyed it, and that memories and reveals feature is one that we will bring back every so often, and we'll ask some of the other guys in the 360 team to answer some of those questions. So listen, that does bring us to the end of episode 28. We're going to take a week's break. That's the big news, so hope you're still watching. We're going to take a week's break. I'm off on another well-deserved sunshine holiday next week. It's my birthday week. Going off to find some sunshine. 360 will still remain active on the social media, so still plenty of opportunities to interact and respond to our output, to our posts. And do remember, if your 360 might be the antidote to any boredom over the winter. So do remember that on our YouTube channel, there are now 100 plus, I believe, long form videos. So by long form, I mean ranging from 15 minutes up to 30 or 40 minutes even. So there's over 100 previous discussion topics for you to watch back or view for the first time in our YouTube channel. So fill your boots. We will be back with episode 29 on the 14th of November. We might, but by that point, we might have some breaking news emerging out of the AGM to discuss. Fingers crossed. Until then, Stuart Robson, Nigel Crabtree, Lawrence here. Thank you for your company. 360 Speedsters, look after yourselves. Keep hitting those thumbs up and comment to your heart's content. See ya. Bye bye.
See ya.
Bye, everybody.
See ya.
Bye.